Hi everybody, it's Michelle and Max. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist and I was a firefighter for 22 years, and Max has been a dog for about 6, right? And I actually tell people he's a baby werewolf because he does kind of look a little spooky, but he's pretty harmless, aren't you? Yes. All right, Ruby is getting a haircut, so we'll see that tomorrow because that will be magnificent, won't it? Yes. All right, we were talking about distorted thinking because that's what cognitive behavioral therapists look for. We identify the maladaptive or the unhealthy or unhelpful ways, the patterns of your thinking. So the first one we talked about was judging and all or nothing thinking, black or white. You know, I'm either going to be on a diet or I'm going to be eating cookies and ice cream. That kind of thinking isn't, very helpful or productive most of the time. So that was covered in the last video. And I talked about overgeneralization, but I kind of missed something on that I want to go over again. Overgeneralization can happen from trauma. So basically, when we're in our childhood filter, let's say the trauma happened in childhood, a lot of times the overgeneralization can happen because we grow with that perception for a long time because it happened when we were children. So let's say we're 5 and our ball went over the wall of the neighbors, and we want to get it, and they have a little baby werewolf on the other side of the fence, and you jump over the wall and you scare the little dog, which looks like a baby werewolf to you because you're little, and you scare him and he nips at you. Max has done that. He can nip when he gets scared. In his sympathetic brain. So when that happens, you decide, I'm never going near a dog again. They're all werewolves. I don't want anything to do with them. And so you can't even visit your poor Aunt Fran. She has a poodle. It has no teeth, but you're terrified of it, so you won't go near it because you had this one bad experience, or even a couple bad experiences or whatever can lead to overgeneralizing. And it's not a logical way to go about looking at things because yes, some dogs are like werewolves and some dogs aren't. Same thing with people. So overgeneralizing can be a source for racism, xenophobia, all that stuff. And it's a very distorted way to think, and it keeps us from relating to life without fear of certain things that we really don't need to be afraid of anymore, because a lot has changed since we were 5. That's one of the main things I do with my clients is I'll look at, what are you thinking and believing, and what has changed since then? If you were 5 when you got bit by the dog, what's changed? What's different about the situations? Well, you're an adult now. You're much bigger. If you're afraid of dogs, you can, carry something to scare the dogs off with. If you're going to Aunt Fran's and you're afraid of her poodle, you could look and discern, hey, you know what, this is really different because her dog doesn't even have any teeth. It can't bite me. So getting clients to start to do this with what happened to their trauma, because there are times we're victims of something, especially when we're kids, because we don't have as many choices and we're not as strong and we can't take care of ourselves. That's why it's everybody's job to protect children at all times, even Max. Although he doesn't like children. He doesn't like anything with wheels, especially like strollers and stuff, and he freaks out with babies, don't you? So overgeneralizing is one of those things. The other thing I kind of want to bring up is a couple terms that people have a lot of questions about. I get a lot of questions about, what is gaslighting? What does that mean? Gaslighting is a term that was brought up by a play where a guy was trying to make everybody think his wife was crazy. So the gas lamps at that time, you could turn them down, turn the gas down, and turn the light down. So he kept doing that, and he kept telling his wife he wasn't doing it, and she kind of thought she was going crazy. So if you're in a dysfunctional system, and I'll talk more about that too, there may be some gaslighting happening to you, and you will feel very confused, scared, confused, like what is going on? It's the same thing with the dysfunctional system. So dysfunction is based on a script. And I'll talk more about gaslighting too, but I just kind of want to give the script is it's three. Okay, we'll do it that way. There's the victim. Okay, that's one point. Then there's the villain. That's another point. And then there's the hero. So when you're in a dysfunctional system, it could be a workplace, it could be a relationship, it could be in your family, it could be in our government, where you have somebody in a victim mentality who's never taking responsibility for anything. They're constantly gaslighting. They're blaming things on everybody else. In a dysfunctional system, there has to be blame, which blame is really futile. If you think about how successful teams work together, they don't sit around and try to figure out whose fault things are. If the ball gets dropped in a football game, you pick it up. On the fire department, if somebody pulls the wrong hose, you start over again and have them pull the right one, and then you deal with that later. Sitting around and trying to figure out who made the mistake it's a waste of time. Let's move forward, get into solutions for our problems, not into blame and shame and all that stuff that we want to do to make somebody realize that we were right and they were wrong. So when you're in a dysfunctional system, you'll feel blame, you'll feel guilt, you'll feel shame. Nothing you do will be good enough for the victim. Even if you're trying to be the hero and do something wonderful for them, they'll get mad at you because you didn't do it right. The villain is sometimes actually a totally fine person, but they're getting vilified. And if you go around gossiping and gaslighting people, that's different from just venting and telling someone your experience with somebody, because you have an agenda. You're trying to get the other people to go against this person. Maybe you're telling them, watch out for that person, or your experience with somebody could be completely different from what anybody else experiences with the very same person. And it could be because that person relates to you differently, treats you differently, and it could be because your perceptions are just different, just like with the dog. So I hope that made sense. And we'll talk a lot more about gaslighting and dysfunction, and especially in systems and family systems and in workplaces and stuff. And right now in our world, if you're feeling very confused and unsure and anxious and scared, angry, those are all normal reactions to this really, really abnormal situation that we're in. It's not functioning, what's happening. It's very dysfunctional. And that's how you know you're in a dysfunctional system, is you go into your feelings and you check it out. And please give me some comments and stuff. I'm using this for the template of my book, trying to cover the most common mental health questions people have. And if you like this, please like it. And if you have YouTube, subscribe. And I would really appreciate it, because I'd like to get this information out to anybody who needs it. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.